we're gonna have a look at the main move in the market for the day. So if we start with the pound, so this morning 9:30, you had some economic data coming out of the UK. So you had the secondary, so final reading for the Q2 GDP, and you also have the business investment. So quarter on quarter for the GDP for Q2 and the year on year, both readings were in line with expectation. So no market reaction on these data here, but you also had the business investment and the two readings. So we're expecting 0.4% for quarter on quarter and 0.5% for year on year. And two readings were 0%, so below the expectation. And then if we have a look at the reaction in the pound this morning, we've seen these down move here, so somewhere around the pivot, all the way down to a few ticks above S1 here, and we also broke the 128 psychological handle. So this is what we've seen in the pound this morning, 9:30. Then for the rest of the day, not much movement in the pound, nor in the euro. Just, I'd say, yeah, really quiet market, so just playing the range. Bit of dollar strength and dollar weakness. Move to the downside, trading around the pivot, and then back above this. But then, because no many economic data scheduled, and it's also the month of August, so the market is really quiet, especially in the European session. I was talking about the new interns here. In a day like today, most of the time you need to wait for the US cash open to have a clear direction of the market. And this is what we've seen after 2:30. You've seen a risk-off scenario. So risk-off scenario, equities down, and then safe haven, so T-notes, gold and Japanese yen, trading to the upside. You have, let's say, two main reasons also that could help the move to the downside. You have weak existing home sales. So let me just show you the data here. So we were expecting 5.57 million, and then the actual number 5.4 million. And we are at the bottom here of the range of the different data that we have since September last year, so September 2016. So pretty weak data here for the existing home sales from the US. And then you also had another news regarding the situation with North Korea. So top South Korean officials said that they would deploy more missile defense systems. So obviously this brings a bit of tension between the US and North Korea. So that helped the move to the downside that we've seen in the equities. If we move on into oil trading also lower for the session. But then if you have a look at the paper, yesterday you had positive DOE, so bullish DOE report. You also had a headline this afternoon that Russia and Saudi Arabia would be in talk for extending the production cut for another 3 months. So that's also positive. And then the third one would be the situation with the Gulf of Mexico and the threat of a hurricane coming out in the next few days. So on paper, everything tells you to buy the price of oil. However, let me just transition the screen here. If you have a look at the oil chart here on my screen, been trading lower. So this morning, really quiet. Pivot acted as a good support level. But then since 2 o'clock, the usual pickup in volume for oil, we've been trading lower. Broke below the 48 psychological handle, broke below S1, broke below the low of yesterday, and now we're trading around the S2 for the day at 47.16. So this is when you need to adapt and be flexible, because obviously we're not moving the market, so you just adapt yourself, even if it's a bit conflicting with your bias for the price of oil. If you want to trade it, just adapt and follow the market. To conclude this wrap, let me just have a look at the calendar for tomorrow. So tomorrow, Friday, 25th of August, you have some data coming out of Germany, import prices. You also have some data coming out of France with consumer confidence. And then you have at 9 o'clock, IFO business climate for Germany. So this one, tier 1 data, maybe it's going to offer some good opportunities for the euro or the DAX. Obviously the German Bund as well. And then in the afternoon, 1:30, you have US data, durable goods. And because it's Friday, you also have the US Baker Hughes oil rig counts. And keep in mind, Jackson Hole is starting today. And then tomorrow you have Yellen scheduled to speak 3 o'clock London time. And Mario Draghi at 8 o'clock here. So after the European market closes. Yeah, I also have this here. So these are some trades that I took today. First one here is in the pound. So as I talked about it a few minutes ago, you had some weaker than expected data from the UK. So business investment, 0%. We're expecting 0.4 and 0.5. So just enter 2, our market. Shorting 2. Then book profit early. Second target was the S1 level, but we didn't really manage to go all the way down there. So then, just adapt, and then you see that the market doesn't really want to push any lower. Just book the second contract off here. And the second trade that I took here was the risk-off scenario, so the short in the equity market. So I was shorting here the S&P. So when we broke below the pivot, at that time, I think the Nasdaq was leading the move. So Nasdaq was already way below the pivot. So I just jumped in. Then as you can see here, good classic short. We traced a little bit up to the pivot and then all the way down again. Then book profit early as soon as we made new lows. And then second target was this level here, 24.37.5. And it was the low of the European session this morning. Put my order here, a few ticks above this. And then I got filled here. So yeah, interesting day today. I hope all of you guys did pretty well. And I wish you have a nice evening, and I'll speak to you later. Bonne soirée and à demain.